Hello and welcome to the first game of our Legends of Runeterra tournament. Make sure you check out the deck tag to know how the format works and what cards are allowed and what cards aren't allowed. Basically, it's only the cards that cost 4 or more if they are spells, or 3 or more if they are landmarks and or units. This will be against another player from the team Kek, the TKG, Ace. We've played against each other before, and I was looking forward to facing him. With the decks, I kinda made a little bit of a mistake. At the start of the tournament, it's a little bit hectic, because you have to find your opponent, add them, look at the deck list, etc. So I kinda forgot to turn on the video in the recording at the very start of the game, but you will see it's just like 2 turns missing or something. But I also don't have like the starting screen, that's why I covered the result for now, so not spoil anything. But basically, Ace himself, or themselves, said that they just spent 5 minutes on building the decks. And yeah, they looked like 5-minute decks when I looked at the deck lists. Of course, it was open deck lists, so you could see what your opponent was bringing. And what I saw was basically the triple Marai Madness and random cards. Let's still take a look at the different deck lists. The first one, and this is actually the deck list because again, open deck list, so you can actually look at the opponent's decks, is just basically the deck we brought, Twisted Fate Karma with the Seps Brayfin and Marai Madness combo. If of course is pretty good because you can't run any 3 or lower cost spells anyways, so you don't have any deck building restrictions by that. And yeah, Ace just put in some other cards. Basically some of them we also run, Deny the Lost Riches for example. And I actually like the Scattered Pod. It's a little bit expensive, but can search out these cards for you. I also like Percussive Pod. It's a card I missed. Don't think Tasty Failfog is necessary. Mina Swiftfoot just seems like overkill late game. And yeah, basically a very similar deck to the one we have, but it only gets more random from this point onwards with the next deck. And this one is just Ekko Viktor. For whatever reason, I expected like some Glorious Evolution when I first saw the champions. However, there is no Glorious Evolution, there is just randomness. You have a Petty Officer, decent 3-drop, Aloof Travelers, the Marai Madness, Seps Brayfin combo again. Then for whatever reason there's a Midden Stocker Henchman and an Officer Squad. And the Chief Mechanist Savvy makes sense. You can copy those spells. And Ship Recorder, Lost Riches, Salvage, Sunk Cost, basically what we are running, Assembly Line, Hextech Anomaly, Hextech Transmogulator, and a progress day or 2. So yeah, it's definitely a list you can bring. Not sure if I agree with every of these cards, especially like, I guess Ekko made sense because you can use the spell mana banked up to predict and stuff. Viktor makes sense because you always have like spell mana lying around and he can get big. So it's not the worst deck, but I also don't see why there's a Midstocker Henchman in it. And yeah, then the middle deck was just the Bandle city deck without a Bandle tree, running Misfortune and Gnar, and of course those 2 cards are very strong individually, so not that much to say about those 2. Mayor, Petty Officer once again. Petty Officer card I wish I would have included in my decks as well, very good choice. The Aloof Travelers, I'll Navigator mostly for Misfortune, and again, the Marai and Sep combo, a Mini T and one of Mirror Mage to just copy those created spells, I guess. And then Double Yordle Contraption, also a card I really like against the Bandle tree decks running around potentially. And then Hidden Pathways, Minimorph, Sunk Cost, and a one of Treasure to Trash. So, not the worst decks, but as Ace said himself, they just were built in 5 minutes, so they kind of look that way a little bit, with not that much thought going into them. But yeah, it's basically a triple Marai Mother combo. And if you know me a little bit, you know that I hate Marai Mother's card. I don't like playing against it at all because it just like comes down to coin flip basically, who draws the good cards, who wins. And yeah, it's just turning the game into a RNG fest. And then a little bit of a different format here. I'm just going to showcase the normal games. I'm still going to cut out a little bit, especially the first parts, because there's basically nothing happening in the first 2 turns because nobody can play any units or spells. So the games will start at turn 3 after the mulligan, but there aren't really that many decisions going on, or decision making. To be honest, I didn't really play that well in that tournament. Like, I still tried, but it was a lot to manage just the tournament itself with the deck tracking and the recording. So especially in the first games, I didn't really focus that much. I also went in with a mentality of just, I want to play, I want to have fun, not necessarily win the tournament or anything like that. Okay, let's jump into the first game. And as you can see here, we are already in the game. And on our board, you see a bunch of elusives. My grandmother was played. And we have a one of strong arm in our hand. I will always show these for lesser known cards, because I don't think everybody has played the Misfortune Expeditions and has had the fun to deal with strong arm. And then we have some sound costs, karma, and this is basically the problem of this deck. We have a bunch of cards that draws more cards, and no card that really does something on its own. On the other side of the field, we see two dudes from the assembly line, and Viktor already having Spell Shield, which kind of bricks our double sunk cost. Let's watch how the game continues. We pass, and the turn moves over to us. It's now turn 8, and we draw another one of our cards that didn't start in our deck with the Marai Grandmother, which is the Monster Poon, which would be able to deal with Viktor here. Unfortunately, Viktor has Spell Shield. We go for the toss away an Iceborne Legacy that was created. Not too worried about this one being lost. And put in these treasures, but like, if you look at our hand, we just don't have any way to get rid of all those cards. We don't have enough mana, we don't have enough resources. Like, we have enough resources, we don't have enough time to put all those resources to work. Ace thinks about playing out the augment and instead goes for the 4-5 officer squad, and we just go in for a big attack. I decide to still keep my Twisted Fate back because he's like kinda close to leveling, but kinda want to just clear up the board, trade as much as possible, and China, I don't know, get some board space, because what else are we going to do with our units? And Ace keeps the Viktor back, and we luckily draw a For the Fallen, which we can promptly cast for the bunch of 3/3s. If we wouldn't have drawn this For the Fallen, I would probably just gone for the Monster Pool or something, but this of course works out even better. And yeah, the For the Fallen resolves. We get our two Dauntless Vanguards, and time has over. We're still ahead on the board. However, the Viktor now has picked up Spell Shield, so breaking through on the ground is pretty hard. And here comes the first Marai Grandmother of so many to come in this match. We go for the Monster Pool, we think about it, but again, it's just really, really hard, and I just decided to pass because there's not really much going on. And there's a Sepp Sprayfin. Of course, if you draw this combo every game, you will win most of your games in this format. And yeah, it's just a very powerful combination of cards to bring. I decided to then take out the elusive. My only way to win seems to be just attacking with elusives over 2 turns, and in comes the Hexcore upgrade. And I don't really see breaking through this Viktor. Maybe I should have tried breaking the Spell Shield with double sunk cost, for example, but to be honest, a little bit underestimated the Viktor. I thought he would just sit around, do nothing, and would eventually just kill him with either Twisted Fate flip, or we should just perma-stun him, for example. Twisted Fate is now at 1 away from level up, and here just decide to go in with the elusives and with the 7-1. However, I didn't quite notice that the opponent has a Hex Tech Transmogulator in the deck, not really a card you expect, and I didn't really look that much into the deck lists. I was just like dismissing it as triple Marai Grandmother. And yeah, Ace is thinking about it, but then decides to go for the Transmogulator. And now suddenly they gain deck 7 life, and we are in a pretty terrible spot now. Again, could you have played this differently? Possibly, but it's just really hard to play around all these random cards. We kind of have to end the game and we kind of don't have to end the game because we have so much value. It's kind of just, we have too much value. We are too rich, we can't really do that much. And in comes the sunk cost, and I kind of decided to just level up Twisted Fate. If we draw him again, he will be leveled up. And you have the awesome animation. I love this animation. So I also got these cards from Twisted Fate. And Deep Meditation got obliterated because our hand is full. Not that much of a problem. and sunk cost puts it into the deck. And now I decide to, I think I just play up my karma here, exactly, and start like generating more value, I guess, but we can't really use that value with our full hand, which will be a recurring story. So Extra upgrade coming in, Viktor now getting another augment, this time the elusive, so quite a good lineup, none of the bad keywords so far, no impact, no faded, no augment, I guess augment already has Viktor. But there's 13 keywords in total you can get. You can't get formidable, you can't get attached, for example, from the new ones. And then comes a Dawn and Dusk, which is the new, it will be shown on the screen, but basically it destroys me here because I can't have a way. Then I go for the spell, but actually mill my vengeance. Not that I have karma on the board, but with a karma I would have still been able to kill the Viktor if my cards were just all around. And then I get a consolidation health potion, which wasn't really helpful either. And yeah, this is just the power of randomness, which cost us this first game. Moving into game 2, I decided to not bring this abomination of value again, and instead wanted to get at least one win. So I brought my Taliyah landmark deck and the Bandle tree. On this matchup, I noticed that my opponent has these rlor contraptions in the deck, so they can technically kill my Bandle tree. So I have to wait it out, maybe play the Bandle tree out later if I already have finished it, if I run out of value. However, they are also playing a mid-range deck, so I don't think I have to rush it that much. I can just run up my units normally and go from there and basically battle it out as a normal mid-range grind fest. For the mulligan, this is our opening hand. You can pause if you want and think about how you would mulligan. However, I went with this mulligan. I wanted to keep my Merciless Hunter in case they draw the misfortune and just toss away the rest. There's no real minion to kill or unit to kill with the 7 damage. They don't play Bandle tree and we don't want our 10 mana spell. Then we jump ahead to turn 3 where we both run out our Bandle City Mayors, and I wish I had this Fist Bump card deck, and yeah, we just both discover some cards. I just go for the cheapest one, or not the cheapest one, but we already have the Shadow Eyes one in hand. Should be a pretty obvious choice here. And then Ace attacks in with the Mayor. Wait for it. I'm sorting my hand tracking cards in the meantime. But here comes the attack. And then I think about blocking or not blocking. But I think blocking is just fine, because they get as much discount from the Mayor as I do, and that should be just pretty smooth, and there's nothing to play for 3 mana here. And we move to my turn 4, and this is where my plan was to just put on pressure with Rumble. I decided to discard the Vagabond, the second copy of the Shadow Isles guy, and the second Mayor, which is a little bit greedy. I don't know if I have to discard second Mayor, but I wanted to keep the other cards in hand. Aloof Travelers just better. Versus Hunter if they have something good. And here comes the Marai Madness again on turn 4. And in comes my attack. Of course we have to put in pressure, that's why Rumble's in the deck, to deal damage, to level up, to get us more of these multi-region followers. And Marai Madness indeed does block, and we are 1/2 on the level up condition of Rumble now. Next turn comes around, and I keep setting up my hand tracking, take a moment of time, moment of a pause, and Ace goes for Aurora Borealis, has transformed into the Karma boss fight, and in comes the Sept Brave, just drawing another 3-cost spell. However, only 2 mana remain, so no spell here, and I decided to just progress my Bandle tree, go for the Aloof Travelers, and we actually find the 4-cost spell, the Right of Negation. Another interesting point, if your opponent's hand is full, actually obliterate a card before they discard another card, so we were actually able to obliterate one of the 2 rlor contraptions, something I only just now noticed. They play out a Poro and attack, but getting rid of the one of the 2 rlor contraptions is actually huge here, because it makes our Bandle tree even stronger. So yeah, good play, paying off. And our turn comes around. Once again, we don't need to open attack or anything, just develop. They only have units as well, so they can only develop and got no like 3 damage spells or anything. Bandle City Bilgewater is usually not that scary. And we know what cards they have in the deck. If they spend 6 mana on like a Keeper's Verdict on a Poppy, then that's totally fine. Instead they go for a Gnar first. Gnar also not really threatening here in my opinion, just all our units are so big. And we can swing in for a bunch of damage. And no really good blocks. Gnar can like trade off. Of course, with this format you don't have to fear any 3-cost spells except for the Sepsrayfin. So like a Battle Fury would be pretty devastating here, but you have a mini-morph for that. Rumble flips. Very interesting animation all the time. I don't like how purple it is. But in general, I like the animation. I like Rumble a lot. And you get the trade. They get the Pokey Stick. And then here comes the next 3-cost spell, which is a War Mother's Call. And at this point I was like, I don't want to let this resolve. I think I can out pressure them and have a attacking Rumble, deal a lot of damage over time. I don't want to just have a unit each turn, so I decided to sacrifice a Mana Gem and counter that one. Now we have a 6-7 mana or 7 mana. In comes a Bandle City Mayor. And we just read our Bandle Tree, our Progressive Bandle Tree, and play out our Shadow Ice guy. Always remember when playing Bandle Tree, even normal version, you don't want to just run out Bandle Tree on 5. If your opponent also plays some kind of mid-range deck, you want to first finish the tree and then play it out. But yeah, which unit we really play here is not really that important. Ace goes for the Space Shield pop on our Rumble over killing the 3-1, which makes sense later on. And then comes a elusive attack. He would have played our elusive guy to block, but I just wanted to get out these 2 guys here for a potential open attack. And I don't think my life total is really that threatening. They have a Porous next in hand. And our turn comes around. And here we can only play 1 unit, unfortunately. Or like that's kind of how the format works. As you can tell, 2 with the Shadow Tech Walker and the Messes Hunter. So Aloof Travelers comes in. Luckily we have our mini-morphs that protect our Bandle Tree. And the Merciless Hunter, then I target the elusive, because I slowly want to wear down the elusive, and also want to push in damage here with my elusive. Keeper's Verdict comes in, so our Rumble gets moved to the top, don't really care about that. And here I purposely targeted the 2-2, so that my 1-3 can attack twice, get double impact, and my other elusive can also push in damage. So I set up this way to that my 1-3 survives, and I get the most damage impossible. Of course, I have no spells to fear, and some blocks come in. Pretty conservative blocks, even blocking with the Mayor, so good play here. But still a lot of damage from the incidental impact, down to 10. And Bandle Tree is also at like 6 or 7 at this point, so I'm feeling quite good about the situation. And very awkward hand here, we can only play like 2 cards. Can mini-morph and Rumble, for example, but we can't play Rumble and Tree, we can't play Rumble and Porous Lead. And then I decide, after this Mayor has resolved, to first go for a pass, because actually we don't have to act yet, we can only do 1 action anyways, so if your opponent wants to just pass back the turn, we can just do our double action next turn, we can play Rumble and Porous Lead next turn. So if they pass here, it doesn't really matter. Then I kind of got a little bit impatient and was like, no, let's just run out Rumble. I don't really want to raid around. After I finished setting up my hand tracking, you see in the top right the landmark coming in with the 2 costs. This is the newest card being added with the little landmark. And then comes Misfortune. We could, of course, go for the mini-morph. However, I decided to just go for a pass first. You can always go for mini-morph later, and their attacks don't look that good yet. I was always afraid of like a random 3-cost spell coming in here and ruining my day. So like a Battle Fury could still happen, and you always want to keep your answers open as long as possible. We don't really care if they pass back, we can't do anything anyways. And you draw a Shark Trainer, quite a good card here, puts a lot of pressure on as well, summons units in 1, and the opponent's board is almost full, so seems like an obvious choice to play out the Shark Trainer here. Our biggest unit, we kinda waste this attune, spell mana, but nothing we can do. And then comes a Pathways, drawing 2 cards. And I don't know if Ace really expected to die here, but we definitely have a lot of hidden damage with the bunch of impacts, just 4 impact on the board already, and then the overwhelm unit. And another aloof travelers, this cuts our second mini-morph. However, we go for the big attack, and once again, because our 1-1 survived, we can now challenge the elusive again, and have our elusive go through. And that's a guaranteed 3 damage already, and 4 damage with the other impact. And Ace goes for the blocks. And we just run out the Flame Spitter for lethal. It takes a moment, but here we go. And of course, Ace could have some kind of fancy spell here that would save him or them. With the Scrapshot, for example, any Marai Warden spell. That's why the popcorn emote. I was just waiting, seeing if there's something going to happen. However, we got our win here. And yeah, Rumble preserved. And Mecha Yordles were victorious. For our last matchup, it was kinda just Marai versus Marai, so whoever draws Marai Great Mother first, whoever draws most Substrafin will just win, because all those random spells will just have so much infinite value. I thought I would have a good late game opportunity if like nobody draws Marai Great Mothers, however that's not how this game developed. And let's take a look at our mulligan. This was my opening hand. Again, you can pause and think about what you will keep. I think it's pretty obvious. I decided to mulligan everything except for the River Shape. I wanted to have some kind of 3-drop play, but I don't think Karma is very good. Sunk cost is very expensive. Can't really answer a misfortune. And the Shadow Assassin just kind of a redraw. If you just keep a redraw in your hand, you can as well mulligan and just find a better card immediately. That was my starting hand. We once again skip to turn 3, where the opponent then played out a misfortune, as expected. However, we were lucky enough to draw our Troll Hunters. I'm very happy about adding this card, because it was just proving quite good. However, in our deck it would actually be beneficial if it wouldn't generate the sea monsters, because we have so much incidental value anyways, that these sea monsters just kinda are wasted. Next moment is very educational. I want to play my Great Mother here. However, I also want to have the Deny open, because I want to kill Misfortune. So that's why I go for the open attack. In case of Ace having something here, Scrapshot, whatever, I have my Deny, and then if the Misfortune dies, I can play my Great Mother out afterwards. Actually comes a Misfortune signature spell, the Misfortunes Make It Rain, and I decide that we really have to deal with the Misfortune, we can't let it level up, and we also deal with 2 copies of Misfortune this way, so I went for the Deny here. Not sure if that's correct in hindsight, maybe the Deny would have been more valuable later on, however, the Misfortune would have been a big problem, we don't have a current answer, and in comes another Marai Great Mother on turn 4. We have our River Shaper, and then we want to play our own Marai Great Mother. However, the opponent then finds Substrafin, so 3 out of 3 for the Marai Great Mother and Substrafin combo. And that's I gave the Garen emote. Was a little bit annoyed by this high roll, but at least we have our own Great Mother, so it's like a fair duel. I decided to go for the spell card draw immediately, hoping to find a good spell, and we indeed find our War Mother's Call, which gives me Freljord vibes. And we go for another 6-cost spell. This one being a Shock Blast, also quite good utility. Substrafin from the opponent, once again drawing another 6-cost spell. So now 2 in hand, and we go for our War Mother's Call. And I felt kinda good in this situation. We also find our Troll Hunters, once again. Crowding our hand with the sea monsters, kinda unfortunate. But we kinda don't have any other early game interaction in these regions. And we take out one elusive, the other one stays back. And again, I'm feeling pretty good here. We have value, we have my Great Mother. It always comes down to who rolls better. But I think the War Mother's Call was quite good. We get Twisted Fate here. Note that Twisted Fate gets level up because the War Mother's Call happens at round start, whereas Twisted Fate or the card draw happens after round start. And Ace goes for the 2-4 and the 1-1, the Scout guys. And I just happily draw more. However, my dreams get crushed with the give it all. And I don't think this was actually intended by deck building. I think these scout units were just in for the misfortune. But they now have a triple 3/4 with scout and elusive, which is pretty terrible to deal with. And yeah, kinda just wrecks me, which is sad because that's just my Great Mother Mirrors. Whoever gets the better, stronger card, stronger combination wins. We're not quite dead on board because we can block with our elusives and then use our shock blast we generated to survive one more turn, which is exactly what we're doing. I take down the higher cost units. I guess they're all the same costs, so I just kind of blocked random guns. And I guess I should have taken down the 1/1 or the 1 cost unit. Kind of misplay here. Shock blast kills them both. And then comes the second attack, taking us down to 4 life, or 2 life even. I still believe in the heart of the cards, and that I will find something at some point. But in comes a Servitude of Desolation, just resummoning all of those lost elusives. However, funnily enough, they just get resummoned normally, so not as exact copies, but as normal copies. So I'm not sure if it's a bug or just... because I think it should be exact copies. And yeah, it seems like kind of bug now that I look back at it. I was too concerned with being tilted in the game to notice it, but I think it says exact copies, right? On the maybe it can't do that because the unit already died and you can't do exact copies anymore. It would make sense that the Servitude works differently from the other ones. And yeah, Seb's Brave number 3 coming in. Again, quoted with a Garen emote. Seems appropriate here. And I was packing up my cards already here because I do have no chance. However, we still try it, and I go for the open attack. I still try to find some answer. Even comes in with the mini morph on my 1 elusive unit. And we go for the Voices of the Old Ones. Level up our karma at least. We get the last animations. And yeah, don't even find our sunk costs. Lost Riches combo. You cast a copy Lost Riches. The first one puts treasures in. The second one draws the treasure. However, we don't find anything else and surrender. And yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate loss, but this is just a very random RNG based matchup. I don't think we could have played anything better. I kind of regret how my counter deck was built because it just kind of fizzled out 2 games. While I had too much stuff in the hand, would have definitely built this one differently. But I was happy about my Bandle tree deck performance. And yeah, it was fun to play in the end and hopefully fun to watch as well. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode tomorrow.